Good morning, it's us. It's Monday morning. We're so happy to see you. It's your Momo, and you know you need it because every Monday we got to get up and running and run those businesses from home, even though we have children who don't feel so good and don't want to go to school today, or we have laundry to do, or we have pets that need walking. Whatever it is, the most important thing is to get your energy around the fact that while you do all that, you are still growing a business, and that's what we are here for, to help you with some Monday momentum, Momo. We have a really cool show today, and we have a great guest, so we're going to dive right in. First, I want to have Linda and James say hi, and then we're going to introduce Robert Johnson, who is an amazing guy who knows all about how, if you stop worrying about what the answer is and start asking the right question, you can really move forward in your life and in your business. So first, Linda, would you say good morning?
Good morning. Happy Monday Momentum. I'm excited to hear today's program.
Cool. And how about you, James? Are you there? You're muted, baby.
Yep, I'm muted. Come on. You put this little blue box up there, and you can't click on the microphone. You have to click on the blue box.
I'm muted now. We can hear you.
I know. Good morning, everybody. Good to be here.
All right.
I'm one of those not feeling so great, but I'm here.
That's it. Good. You're showing up anyway, and that's what it's all about. Sometimes our best is not the same as what our best was yesterday or what it'll be tomorrow, but we do our best every day because we know that that's how we get what we want and how we build the life that we want to build. So Linda and James and Sarah, as you all know, are people that go to this crazy place called CEO Space, and we meet amazing people and we share great ideas and we learn and we grow. And one of the people that we've all met there is one of our fabulous faculty members, and his name is Robert Johnson. And this guy, when he speaks, you will be blown away. At least that's how I feel. He has some ideas and some experience and some techniques that can really, really make a difference. So I'm thrilled that he's here with us today. And it's his first time on Hangout, so we're all going to be really gentle, and we're going to remember that, you know, this can be kind of a fun little crazy application to use. So the first thing I'm going to say to you, Robert Johnson, is unmute and say hello.
Good morning, Sarah. How are you?
I'm great, and I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So Robert, and you know, my question right off the bat is, what's the big deal with questions? Why do you talk so much about them? What do you think?
Well, you know, questions make people really uneasy. You know, we're taught in school that the way to really move ahead is to always have answers to things. And kids, especially, you know, before they get into like second and third grade, are always asking questions about how and why and where and when and all that kind of stuff. And as big people, we kind of feel that it's a little bit annoying, but that's how they learn. But unfortunately, as we get a little bit older and we get into the academic realm, we get into the mindset of having to have the answers to things. And it starts to get sometimes embarrassing to say, you know, I don't really know the answer to that. But the trick is that once we stop asking those questions, then for many of us, our learning also starts to get stifled. So the question for me is really kind of where it's at. That's really what moves things forward. You know, without those questions, we never come up with new answers. So it's great to have the answers, but it's even better to realize that even once we come up with an answer, that the answer is really the seed to a new question. So it's all about keeping people on that edge of discovery and never being satisfied with what I know.
So it almost sounds to me like you're like a frontline guerrilla in the war to teach people or remind them that learning doesn't stop just because you stopped going to school. And I do believe that there may be a certain segment of our population that thinks that it does. That, oh, okay, I'm done being educated, now I spend the rest of my life just doing stuff and I never have to learn anything ever again, as if there's something wrong with learning. But of course, that's not what we're about here. We love to learn. We, you know, all those books. Right. So, what is there a first step that I mean, is that true? Number one, have you seen that in people, and is there a way to help them wake up and realize that, wow, there's really more out there that I don't know, and it's actually kind of fun to learn about it?
Well, yeah. So I often use the example using my keys. And when I get talked to, I talk about when I lose my keys in my house, and I've lost my keys in the house. While I'm looking for my keys, we find all kinds of stuff that I lost before.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so whatever else, I can't believe I found that. But as soon as I find my keys, then I stop looking. So I stop discovering stuff. So questions are kind of the same way. You know, once you stop asking, then you stop discovering. You begin to limit that discovery. Our mindsets, maybe it's the culture that we live in, or whatever that is. But our mindset is that we go to school so that when we graduate, we can then come out and start telling people what we know. Let me tell you what I've learned. But in reality, the purpose of education is to be able to ask questions more elegantly and discover things in a greater setting. So I try and help people to use those kinds of analogies, looking for things, finding things, and helping them understand that while they're looking, they find new stuff. But when they stop looking, they begin to limit their ability to discover new pieces. And being on that edge of discovery is really where people need to be. That's where we find new thoughts and new ideas. I was giving a talk the other day, and I was using the example of Sir Isaac Newton, and I said, so when did he discover gravity? And most people will say, well, when he saw the apple fall from the tree. And my response is, that's probably the classic response, but chances are Isaac Newton discovered gravity when he was about 7 or 8 months old, and he started standing up and fell on the And he knew that there was gravity, but he didn't have the wherewithal to ask the right questions about what's going on. So then he needed to change his education so he could go off, see and learn and think about things differently. And then he saw the apple fall from the tree, and now his schooling allowed him to ask questions that with greater elegance that he could get there and come up with the laws of gravity and all this other stuff. So he's a classic example of where the schooling really gives us the capacity to ask better questions, not just push the stuff that we know or we think that we know.
Fabulous. And I'm going to repeat your example because you're a little bit muffled, and I want to make sure, because for me, I didn't hear it very well until I remembered it. And Robert, I love it when you think about what happens when you lose your keys. You put them somewhere and you can't figure out where they are because oops, didn't put them in that place you're supposed to put them in, so you never lose them. And while you're looking, you find all these other things that you have been missing for months maybe because you're looking. You actually have those eyes on that are trying to find versus those eyes that are just going through the day. And it's a fabulous example of what just being aware and awake and attentive can do to change your day and your life and your business if you're not sort of sleepwalking through your life. Mm-hmm. So I want to give James and Linda a chance to dive in and ask a question if they have one. I would imagine that it might be something about, okay, how about me and my business? What kinds of questions could I be asking? Do either of you want to chime in and unmute and ask something? Because you're both muted. Nobody is. Okay, you're still muted. There we go.
I keep hitting the button, and it throws into a blue box.
Oh wow.
Really listening to what you had to say there, I've noticed with some people that I work with that they ask questions over and over and over, and sometimes that can be irritating, but at the same time, it's in that discovery where you get clarification and you really get to understand exactly what someone's looking for or what someone needs, and so now I just appreciate your kind of refreshing thought process, because sometimes I don't think we ask enough questions because we don't have paper to write down the answers. We don't have the space in it, but I think that's really important.
Didn't realize I was locked on me. Holy cow. Yeah, this is Hangouts. We bounce around and oops, the cat wants to come in. So yeah, I think that piece about how people can get irritated when you ask questions, and so we, as children and maybe even as adults, stop asking them. When really, that's where the entrepreneurial coolness comes from, where the new invention, if Einstein and Edison weren't asking questions, where would we be? So what's the cure? Is there one?
I think about when I walk into Home Depot and I want a specific thing, and the person starts asking me a series of questions, and I think to myself, it doesn't matter. I just want this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and yet that person's not really going to be able to help me find it unless I answer some of those questions. Are you getting a feedback on that?
A teeny bit of a, yeah, we're having some interesting stuff. Linda, you've unmuted. Is there something you'd...
I have, when I work with a client, I ask a lot of questions. And what I find is when there's multiple people in business that are involved in putting input into the website, they haven't spoken to each other. When we get together, I'm asking all the questions, and it's firing things off in their mind that they have to ask each other. They're not really ready most of the time to talk to me, but they don't seem to take the opportunity themselves to discuss it before I start asking those hard questions. So questions are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And they may not be used to asking questions. Is that kind of... It sounds like you've resonated with that a little bit, Robert.
Yeah, so I'm listening to that, and many times I find that my clients aren't used to asking questions about things that they think they already know the answer to. So, Linda, in your work, you're probably helping people discover what in their gut they already know, but they haven't really surfaced it in the way that your question surfaces it. And because they think they know it, then they don't go to that question place. So sometimes it's valuable. Often when we think about asking questions, we're often thinking about asking the stuff that we don't know about. It's often valuable to ask the questions about the things that we think we do know about. Because if we're never pulling back the layers of that onion any further, then our discovery about the thing we think we know never goes any further. So asking questions about what we think we know can be as valuable, and sometimes more valuable, than asking questions about the things that we truly don't know.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Now there's one other little piece, and that is often when we're in settings like presenting or teaching or something like that, and people are playing with this question thing. So many times we get people who ask questions, and I fall into the same category many times, of asking questions to see if you have the same answer that I have. That is, I'm not really asking to find out anything new. I just want to know if you agree with me. So there's several levels to this question thing. Asking to get validation, asking about stuff that I think I know, but I really want to probe and see what other people's thoughts are, and truly asking questions about things that I don't know. So there are all those nuances that are there. The discovery comes in all shapes and sizes. As facilitators, as consultants, it's sometimes, I don't know if I want to use the word easier, but sometimes we find that we see things that clients that are in their blind spot because they've been doing it for so long. It's like the fish in water. They aren't quite sure what that is. And, as we help them build websites and things of that nature, we have to ask them questions about things that we see so that they can discover it. So we can ask questions to help them discover it. And once they discover it, then they own it. If I'm only telling them, then I own it. But if I can help you discover it, then you own it. So, there's that give and take. I have to get people to the point so that, as I have a friend, sometimes I have to allow them to have a genius attack. Even when I think I know the answer, I have to give them a chance to discover the answer so that they can own that answer.
I think that that's very similar to some of the things that we've been taught about sales, that when you ask questions of your prospect to find out, like you were talking about, James, a minute ago, when you go into a store and they ask you a bunch of questions about, the dishwasher that you're thinking about buying, what are your needs? Sometimes it can be irritating because you think, I just want a dishwasher, man. But at the same time, they are learning about it and you are having to answer, and so you're hearing in your own voice, you're hearing yourself say what you need, and that can very often help close a sale, because when you've said it, okay, I need this, 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 and this, and you have it. Okay, then I want to buy that. Whereas when the salesman or saleswoman is feeding you information but never allowing you to articulate it yourself, it can be harder to close that sale. So it makes sense to me. So we are, only about 10 minutes from the end of the show now, and I know, Robert, there's a wealth of information. Back here I have your book. I'll find it in a second, that I've been lucky enough to read and work on a little bit. But I'm hoping that there might be a question or two that you would recommend to our audience if they wanted one, to ask themselves about, what they're doing with their own small business. Usually it's one or two people, they're working from home, like we said earlier. Is there something or a way that they can begin to ask questions of themselves so that they can, let's say, have a more successful 2016? Anything that you would recommend as a starting point for them?
Well, I guess there are a couple of places. So first, let me say that in our businesses, we're often so busy taking care of the things that we do that we don't ask ourselves, so where is this taking me? I've kind of come up with this idea. I've been working on it for a while. What's the impact? And the answer to that question today may not be the answer to that question that you had when you started your business, because your clients are changing, your environment is changing, the economy is changing, technology is changing. I mean, there are all kinds of changes taking place around us. So the impact of what we're doing may also be shifting and changing. And we don't want to, stay on the road of a business that we started 5 years ago, only to discover that we get to the end of that road and the impact we thought we were going to have isn't really there. It's not always easy to anticipate what that impact is going to be, but chances are we know more about where this is taking us than we think we do if we just ask and explore that question. So I've got this idea, where is this taking me? What difference is this likely to make if I stay on this path? And the other question is so who is this important to? Is it just important to me? What difference am I making in their lives? That is, so who are those stakeholders? Who's going to be impacted by what I do? And the third question is, so what do they want? If you begin to think about who's being impacted, and you ask, so what are they really looking for? So it's kind of a way of connecting the impact that you think you're making with the impact that people want to have made, so that when you get to a certain point, you're actually making the difference that they need. If we're only making the difference that I want and we're not really connecting with the difference that other people want to have made in their lives, we may end up being less fulfilled than we want to be, or that we thought we were going to be when we got to certain milestones. So what's the impact am I making? Who is going to be benefited by this? And what is it that they're looking for? I would start with those three pieces.
And thank you. And I'm wondering then, because I know that you and I, when I was at CEO Space, you were teaching and I was sitting in the class answering those questions for some of my own projects. Is there a, do we do that every day? Do we do that once a year? I realize that probably asking questions we're going to be doing daily in some senses, but is there like a time where you're doing it too much and it's just time to get to work? What would you say for that? Is it an annual kind of a process?
Well, I've got a couple of answers for that. One is, so now here we are at the beginning of the year, and of course everybody should be asking that question right now, starting with 2016, as a reflection and as a projection. So certainly at the beginning of the year we should ask that question. But the other answer to that is that it may depend on the kind of business that you're in. Some businesses have environments that move faster than other businesses do. So if you're in a software business, that environment moves very, very quickly. And you come up with an idea today, and 30 to 60 days down the road, it's already out of date. If you're in a fashion business, you may only need to ask that question once a season. Okay, spring, summer, winter, fall. In the automobile design business, you may need to ask that question a couple of times a year. I don't know. But the point is that we really have to understand the business that we're in, which again gets back to the who am I really impacting here, and how fast is the environment moving for them. So at the very least, once a year, but tuning into your business and how quick that environment is moving is absolutely critical. You may find that if you don't explore the speed or the pace of the change of your own business, that by the time you get to the point where you have your aha moment, the need for that aha moment may have passed you by.
And what a shame that would be. And I think, we can all think of examples of bigger companies that have gone from being the hot thing that everybody knew about and everybody expected would last forever to completely obsolete a year or two later. I mean, my one that I always think about as a photographer is Kodak. And where are they now? And what are they doing? And they used to run the whole dang show. So that's the danger of not staying relevant. And I could see both Linda and James, when you were talking about how fast things can move, they're both in an industry where building websites and there's a new app every 10 minutes, and I half the time don't know what they're talking about because that's not my industry. But they were both sort of going, yeah, I get it, that it's very hard to keep up sometimes, and really scary to me to have an idea that you put a lot of energy and money and time into, only to find that you've gone down a trail where nobody is anymore. I mean, is there something you guys wanted to pipe in about with that?
I don't on that, but I want to ask Robert a question. Do you start your day every morning asking yourself perhaps the same questions, and if you do you answer them in writing, or you just mentally review them?
Great question.
I do both, actually. Way back when I was a freshman in college, I won't tell you how far back that was, but it was a ways. I started keeping a diary as a part of an assignment, and I began to understand the value of simply writing that stuff down, and going back and reviewing that, just thumbing through, just paging through to see what's there. So I write it down for most days. Now, I really ought to write it down for every day. Now, I have to admit, there are days when I don't take time to write it down, and I'm ashamed of myself that I didn't write it down. Because it's almost like, boy, there was a thought that I was too embarrassed to commit to hard paper, and pencil. But I'm kind of going back and forth here. There are a lot of thoughts going through my head. We shouldn't be ashamed to, and we shouldn't be embarrassed to take time inside of our own heads and put down what's there. Okay, and when I say that, I know we're in a society now where everybody's got earbuds and all kinds of stuff, and it's like we want to just crowd out our own thoughts. So take out the earbuds. Since I'm sitting here with mine in right now, listening to you guys. There you go. So take out the earbuds, ask, so what's really inside? What's that question that's inside my own head? And write that down. And you'd be surprised what you discover that you already are kind of thinking, that's already ruminating there. Just give yourself a chance to just explore and just think and just play with it.
Thank you. That's fabulous, and I'm really glad you asked that, Linda, because we've been sort of talking about systems and organizations and how to organization, period. How to be organized and how to get the things done that we need to get done every day, and how to make sure that we stay on track as solopreneurs. So it's fun to hear how you do it, Robert, and what you're thinking about every morning as you plan your day and get up and running, or in the evening when we evaluate how did we do? Did we get to where we wanted to go, or are we somewhere else? So we're out of time, which is what happens every week. Boom, just like that. And that's the whole plan. We want to be quick because we don't want to distract you from what you're really supposed to be doing. We just want to cheer you on and give you a shot in the arm. How about checking out? Linda, would you like to say adios and share a little celebration of the week or something new that's really rocked your world?
All right. So last week I was excited to get started, New Year, clean slate. Getting things done. I've been working really hard this past week on getting refocused and taking control of QuickBooks instead of it mastering me. So I've made major progress. I'm excited. I'm going to, continue getting things done. So.
And if people want to contact you, where do they find you, and why would they do that?
Why would they do that? Because I can solve a problem for them. If they're struggling with especially a WordPress website, that is something that I can take care of. So Linda at interactivesynergy.com.
Fabulous. James?
Well, Robert, thank you so much for coming on board and hanging out with us here for a little bit. I appreciated that refresher in good communication and navigating things, and I liked really what you said as far as even when you think you already know it, you still sometimes you need to ask the questions because the answers you get back might help you grow and might surprise you. So I appreciated that especially. James McFadden, sunny and freezing cold southern Utah, snow on the mountains but not on the ground. And you can get a hold of me through Southern Utah Influencers /VentureCore, SouthernUtahInfluencers.com/VentureCore.
And why would they do that, James? What would you be helping them with?
Right now I'm so slammed I can't even see straight, but marketing systems, strategy, and just dialing in that message so that you can get a response.
Great. Thank you, James. Any celebrations for the week? Anything fabulous that you were just like...
Yes, but next Monday I think I'll have a big one.
Oh, goody. So we have to wait. All right. So, Robert, would you like to sign out and tell people if they want to reach you where they can find you?
Sure. So first, let me thank you for inviting me to be a part of this great gathering. Linda, James, good to see both of you again. And thanks for letting me just sort of play in my own head and share what's in there with you guys. So if you want to contact me, I've got a website that talks a little bit about some of the principles we've gone over, RobertJohnsonspeaks.com. That's RobertJohnsonspeaks.com. And if you want to contact me, you can either contact me through that website or through my email, which is robertjohnsonspeaks@gmail.com. robertjohnsonspeaks@gmail.com. So I look forward to just thoughts, and as you can tell, I really do invite different ways of thinking, and if you have things that you like, things that you disagree about, things that you just want to probe, I'd love to hear from you.
Great. Thank you, Robert. And any celebrations, any like aha moments for you in the last week that you'd like to share with our audience?
My great study group just left me, which are my grandchildren. So they're my greatest source of inspiration and learning. They're 6 and 7, and I just have enjoyed watching them discover new things and test the edge of the envelope. So they just left, gone back to Las Vegas, and it was just a wonderful holiday. They're my inspiration for learning.
Fabulous. And it's a great reminder. If you are forgetting how to learn, go watch some children for a while, and then that'll remind you. They do. Why is the sky blue, Daddy? and we get tired of hearing it, but maybe we should remember it because we at once ourselves. So I would like to say goodbye to all of you. I'm Sarah Coolidge. You can find me at mymondaymomentum.com, where you can find our videos and some other information, the books that we recommend, things like that. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to know what you would like to hear about. And if you have questions or ideas or just input on how you use what we talk about every Monday to help you rock your week, slide into home base on Friday feeling really good about what you did. And my celebration is simply that we're here, we made it work, we got somebody new on, and we are getting to be really pretty good at helping people do Hangouts. So I'm proud of us. We will see you next Monday, and we're going to hear something really cool from James. I don't know what it is, so you better be here. Take care and have a great week. We'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Happy Monday.